Welcome to Meet the Author, sponsored by the Author Event Network in partnership with the Bremerton Public Access Television. I'm your host, Guy Morris. Author Event Network is a nonprofit association of all local authors who sign books at local festivals, fairs, and events. Today we have Rebecca Douglas. Hello, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good and happy to be here.
Thank you. Now, you're a cozy mystery writer.
Yes.
I love that term because mystery and cozy always seem to be, it's like, okay, somebody's died, but we're going to just take our time and figure it out in a casual way. I love the term. So we're going to find out all about you today. This is always great. I love meeting our new authors and getting to know you guys. This is always an honor for me. So I always start with the same question. Being an author is not an intuitive choice. What inspired you to take on the task of putting your soul out there book after book after book after book?
That is what I wanted to do from early childhood. Like probably a lot of your writers, I was a prolific reader. I also started writing basically as soon as I knew which end of the pencil to write with. I did that for a lot of years without ever publishing anything, without ever producing anything that should be published. But it was always my dream to be a writer. And so I'm really excited that I'm able to do that now, even if it doesn't make me much money.
That's always exciting. It is a reward in and of itself.
Absolutely. The stories are there, they're in my head, they want out, and so it's kind of an obvious thing for me to do.
Sometimes it's just therapy's just not enough.
Exactly.
I have voices and they're very loud. Just let them talk.
It's safer to make them into characters and put them on the page.
You don't want to shut them up, believe me.
Yeah.
So tell us, the audience, in your version, what genre do you write and why you picked that genre and what it means to you? Okay.
These days I primarily write cozy mysteries. I've got a couple of series. I'll talk more about that. I've been enjoying reading that kind of mystery. And I should probably talk about what the cozy mystery, as you say, it's an odd combination of things. It's the mysteries that aren't police procedurals. They're not gritty and noir. They're just, it's the village mystery. It's Agatha Christie out of that tradition where the characters and the character development and their lives are as important or more important than the murder itself.
It's the gossip about the characters is almost important about what's being done.
It's funny you should say that because a very crucial element for my amateur sleuths, especially for Seffi Wardwell in my current main mystery series, is gossip and collecting the gossip in the village to put it together to get the idea of what's going on and why. And I think that's also sort of true of the genre. Traditionally, they're again going back to Agatha Christie's Miss Marple.
Yeah.
So the other element of it that really works for me is that they tend to have humor. So your police procedural or your noir mystery, your gritty, gory stuff, humor is not usually a big factor of it. The reality for me is that I cannot write without humor.
Yeah.
When I try to write serious, it lasts for, I can sometimes manage to do it for a 1,000-word piece of flash fiction. That's about my limit of not getting goofy. So I love that I can set up the mysteries, I can explore the fun of the puzzle, and not be grim about any of it.
That's right. Just because Susie's missing doesn't mean we can't have a good time.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that all those other aspects of life quit. There's a lot of crossover for a lot of cozy mystery writers between the cozy mystery and the romance genre.
Okay.
I've kind of limited that. I'm not a huge fan of romance. You can take that how you want. But there are elements in all of my mysteries. There are life things going on, and that can include relationships.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's just not a featured part of my stories. But that's part of what the cozy does, is allows other things besides just solving the crime to be important in the story.
Well, it sounds to me like cozy mystery is really mysteries with a focus on relationship.
I think that's true, or a focus on character.
Okay, character studies, and
yeah.
that can be really fascinating because there's so many fun characters. I mean, that's where you get to create all. I think what made Agatha Christie, one of the things I think that made her so popular were the characters she created.
Oh, for sure.
And people, that's why I gossip maybe was the wrong word, but it was that basically you learn about. Half of the story was the inspector finding out about other people through the eyes of other people. Mm-hmm. And that's how you kind of build those characters, is how other people perceive them. And that's always a fascinating character study. And I mean, you can go almost anywhere and look at something. And I used to do this until my wife just told me to stop. Going someplace and just seeing somebody at random at the airport and then basically kept making up a story about them. Well, she just came because she left her wife, and and she would just say, "Stop doing that to people." I said,
I'm laughing because when my kids were little, we'd see somebody doing something, out the window of the car, and I would get that, why are they doing that? Which would not stop until I made up a reason.
Story.
So I totally get that, and it was in character for me to be doing it.
And then my daughter started going, nah, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, somewhere in there the kids don't believe you anymore. It's
so at some point in time they stop believing. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I love the cozy mystery. I love that genre. So tell me about, do you have any particular themes that you go through, or do the themes change?
I mean, one theme that's always there in mysteries is justice. And that's one of the very satisfying things about the genre, is that at the end, the murderer is found and justice is served. It's not always in exactly the way you would expect, but it's the underlying most important thing. Now, my first series, all of them have titles: Death by Ice Cream,
Yes.
Death by Trombone. All of them a little bit silly that way. One of them is Death by Adverb. You don't get much sillier than that.
Well, I was going to say I could relate to Death by Ice Cream.
Can't we all? Yeah. Those mysteries are actually set on a fictional island in Puget Sound,
Okay.
Pismawallops Island, and the main character and her sidekick are the leaders of the PTA in the local high school. And so part of what's going on in those is also all the things that are important dealing with adolescence.
Oh.
And, raising kids, running schools, the issues that the schools have, because it's set on a small island. It doesn't exist, but I did grow up on Vashon Island. A lot of old Vashon shows up on Pismawallops Island, and schools never have enough money. So, and I was writing these while I was active in the PTA and later on the school board. So I was really feeling that struggle that you always have when you're working in education between what's needed and what you actually can provide. So that's definitely a theme running through those as well.
Go ahead.
Running through all of them are also those themes of acceptance and accepting people as they are. That comes out even more when I kind of felt like I was done with that when I started a new series set on the coast of Maine, which is another area that I really love and have spent some time. For a variety of reasons, the main character ended up being a 72-year-old lesbian retired science teacher who had just moved out there from California because being the new kid in town adds a lot of sort of fun challenges to life there, and also
Especially
to
at that
figuring out the mystery when you don't know everybody and you've got to get to know them. So that was kind of fun.
Now, going back, is there a reason why you picked a fictitious island as opposed to picking an actual island?
Yeah, I like the freedom you get of having a fictitious setting, that you don't have to stick with exactly what's there, and you don't run the risk of offending anybody for what you did to their hometown.
Oh, okay.
And so, again, my little village on the coast of Maine is also completely fictional.
Got it.
Yeah, I haven't written anything that's set in a real place. Now that I think about it, it's like,
interesting.
Yeah, I like making up the locale.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can pick the characteristics you like and don't like, and kind of make it to your suiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I can, and kind of allows me to not be so much real to how things are now. I think that even though my books are set theoretically contemporaneously, those settings I think are a little bit out of date in a way, because it was kind of a fun way to look at the world, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just how it came out.
Well, and the truth is, the world has changed radically since the 90s. Radically. So anything that might be set even then, which was fairly contemporary, seems out of date right now.
I hate to tell you, but the 90s are apparently only contemporary to those of us who are of a certain age.
Well, still, that's my perspective.
That's your perspective. Yeah, and you're sticking to it. Yeah.
Just because other kids don't have that perspective doesn't make mine false.
Right. No, and
But
that's actually
you're
a valid
right.
point.
It's true. I mean, things that if you're writing stuff and it doesn't have cell phones in every scene, kids today look, I don't understand this world.
And I think about it when I first drafted Death by Ice Cream, and it sat in a drawer for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think I drafted it in a period before smartphones. By the time I rewrote it radically to make it something that was publishable, I brought it up into the cell phone era. But I published that, I think, in 2012. So even then, things were pretty different. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but yeah.
And the change is getting faster and faster.
Right.
So it's hard to write anything contemporary in that kind of environment because it just changes so fast. But so I think that in that sense, focusing on characters and hometown communities and the dynamics of those communities is timeless.
Right. Now the other thing I really like a small town setting because it gives you it's much easier to make a finite group of suspects.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how I would tackle a mystery on the streets of Seattle where you've got however many million potential suspects.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody has a community and that narrows it down, but the village just makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a lot easier, and you don't have the police getting in the way.
Right. And, I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of traditional for the genre.
Yeah, exactly.
The village cozy.
Well, and I think that's traditional because that's traditional to our culture. Our culture came from small towns. We've got big cities now, but that wasn't always the universal truth for everybody.
Right.
And so I think that relates to that. And I think a lot of people who read these mysteries also can, particularly the way you're doing it, where you're picking sort of a fictional small town, they can apply it to their own life. It makes it easier to apply. So tell us about the various, who are your favorite characters? Do you have a favorite book and a favorite set of characters? Tell us about where that landed.
Oh, golly. It's really hard to pick a favorite. You're asking me which of my children I like best.
People ask me that question too, so I figure it's fair for me to ask.
Yeah, well, my mom has an answer for that one. When somebody asks, who's your favorite child, and then she'll pause and she says, "Oh, you mean one of mine?"
Yeah.
So yeah, but out of mine, I mean, in some ways, my favorite is always what I'm working on now.
Yeah.
I'm very deep in the Seffi Wardwell mysteries on the Maine coast. I'm working on another book in the series right now. I love what she is doing in that community because she is a science teacher with a specialty in botany. She's very involved with ecology and so forth. And those are important matters to me. So that's important. I also have a huge fond spot in my heart. My first published book was The Ninja Librarian.
Okay.
That series is nominally for children, but my audience probably actually skews quite a lot older than that.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they're tall tales. They're sort of in the spirit of Mark Twain or Bret Harte. They're set on in again a fictional frontier place. I've never nailed down the setting or exact time period, although you can kind of make some guesses by what what they have and so forth. Each chapter is a freestanding story, though they build into a novel. And I didn't even realize when I was writing it, but somebody pointed out to me after I was done, there is a huge theme in there about thinking outside of the box, creativity, problem solving, and that's really what is going on in every one of those. The books are narrated not by the librarian, but by the school teacher looking at the librarian. And the Ninja Librarian is, in a sense, based on a character. I worked part-time at the library. The Ninja Librarian looks pretty much exactly like the head librarian from that time. He's about my height, white hair, old guy. And it turns out, in this case, he has some special skills for keeping the town in line.
Some special skills. A librarian always has special skills.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you about what your personal experiences were that might have led to into some of your books. You obviously had some experiences as a school board. Were you a teacher? Or?
No, I actually originally trained to be a grade school teacher. Discovered the hard way that I have a lot of sensory sensitivities, and a classroom with 30 small children in it was not a good place for me.
Yeah.
So I went on in my schooling and actually got my PhD in medieval literature to teach at the college level,
Wow.
which I did some, but was unable to find like the perfect job. I got married, my husband got tenure at San Francisco State. Finding some place that would offer me a job that would compete with a tenured position in San Francisco wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's challenging.
So I went the other way, where I love books. I got a job at the library.
Yeah, actually. So tell me about some of your other experiences that might have bled into your books.
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. So some of the things that show up in there, I mean, the PTA experiences absolutely show up in there. Even though I was more active at the grade school level and I set it with the high school kids, but all those things that you end up doing, the band practices and band trips, the fundraising, that all shows up in there.
So I have to ask, did any of your nemesis show up as characters in your books that you could kind of take care of them in a quiet, passive aggressive way?
Not precisely. Although,
you're missing an opportunity.
Yeah, well, I try to avoid getting myself into too much trouble. There were those who, after reading Death by Ice Cream, thought that I had made a character after somebody on our PTA. The reality was I had invented that character before I ever met that person. So I guess that was just a type.
Just a type and a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of my life experiences do show up in these things. Now, people do say my personality, especially in the character of the heroine of the Death by series, JJ, she's got a lot of my voice.
How so? Tell me about that.
I think it's a certain amount of snark and humor. People would say they kind of see me in her. I was kind of bothered by that, and so when I started a new series...
Why is that?
Because it's not me. I don't want people reading my characters and thinking, oh, that's just me talking about myself and my life. When I'm ready to write a memoir, I'll write a memoir.
Yeah.
But, my murder mysteries are not me. So I kind of deliberately set out with the next series to try to move the voice a little farther from myself. I think I only succeeded to some degree, and the lesson there, of course, is that when you're the writer, that's your voice.
Yeah, it is a challenge for all writers. I think sometimes we use other people we know as sort of templates for a voice, as it were, and sometimes as authors, I find that nobody is two-dimensional. So we all have multiple voices, multiple perspectives on things, but I do find that you always want to find that one character where the voice can be a little bit more authentic to who you are, and you might divvy that up a little bit. Well, this part of me is going to go to that character, and this part of me is going to go to that character, and this part of me is going to get that adventurous side, and my snarkiness is going to be in this character. But I think that there's a part of us in every one of them, because it has
absolutely.
To be. Yeah.
And even the really snotty characters that I bump off in these books, there's, sometimes they're acting out things that we all think and feel. And I won't want to say that, like, yeah, they're me, but like you say, there's always a piece of you in every character you create.
Well, I've created characters just so I could take a little revenge.
I did that once in a short story. Somebody stole my bike, so I wrote a story about, that they stole the bike, and it turned out the saddle was actually a demon, and
See, there you go. We've
So, yes.
got to find those people in our lives. That's the whole thing. You don't want to tick off an author. You might wind up on page 12.
It's a special power we have.
It's a special power. It's a special power. Now, all of your books take place in different places. You have a particular genre. Now, tell me a little bit about your process. You got an idea for a book. How do you actually go about making it happen?
Okay. I get a germ of an idea. Sometimes it's just a little scene. When I started A Coastal Corpse, the first in the Seffi Wardwell mysteries, I just had a single vision of a white-haired lady pulling like a wire shopping basket, the kind of 2 wheels that you buy for yourself, down the porch steps of her little cottage, past the flowers, and finding a corpse. I didn't know at that point, I didn't know where that cottage was. I didn't know who any of them. So I just start with that idea, that whatever germ comes in my head, and I start writing down, okay, so we've got a little scene. Who's that character? I start asking questions. Somewhere a while back, I picked up somebody suggesting, instead of the, one Roman numeral 1, 2, 3 outline, that you do the questions. And so that's where I start. I have the questions. Okay, who's my main character? Who gets killed? Why did they get killed? Who did it? Who else might have done it? I start asking all those questions, scribbling answers. Sometimes I do it on paper. Most of the time these days I do it on the computer. And I never delete anything from that because I never know which way I might go. So I use strikeouts when I've changed my mind about something. And I keep working at that till I've got a pretty good image of the shape of the book. I won't say an outline. I lean a little bit more as I go on towards outlining than not. That first book I did completely without any plan or outline, and I tell you, it was the worst hot mess. It took years to straighten it out.
Yeah, I had that experience. The first one basically was just right out of pocket, and then after that I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So we have time for one more question.
Okay.
So I just want to ask you, what drew you to Author Event Network? And what do you hope to gain from the experience this summer?
Well, I like selling at events. I've been having trouble figuring out where to do that and also to afford to do it because of the cost. So I had actually joined, on the advice of a friend who lives down in Portland, I joined the Northwest Independent Writers Association. Similar kind of thing, but all their events are in Portland.
Yeah.
So I did a couple of those and was like, this is just not sane. At one of those events, somebody told me about the AEN, and I don't even know who. And so I looked up, and it was exactly what I really was looking for.
Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you as part of our group. I'm excited to be selling books with you. I know you signed up for a number of events this summer. And thank you for watching Meet the Author. Come to meet all of the AEN authors during the summer event season in both Seattle and Portland, and keep on reading.